Hello again. This is the second part of theme 2. We are still within the introduction to social linguistics. Just to remind you, in part 1 of the introduction to social linguistics, we talked about the definitions of social linguistics, and also we talked about the emergence of social linguistics. In this second part of theme 2 of social linguistics, an introduction to social linguistics, we are going to cover two main parts. The first one is the scope and foci of social linguistics. The second one is about the methods of social linguistics. Now, let's talk about the scope of social linguistics. Of course, we can say that language is, as we know, is a communication tool. Of course, this communication tool is used by humans for the sake to interact, for the sake of interaction, or to interact with each other. As a means of communication, language can be studied either internally or externally, and this we have, let's say, talked about it so far. We talked about it in part 1, and let's, for a better understanding, review it in the second part of this second theme. Firstly, an internal study of language concerns only the description of language structure at the different linguistic levels: phonological, morphological, syntactic, etc. We can here talk about also the semantic level. Let's have a brush up of this first, let's say, concern about language study, that is the internal study of language. As we said before, the internal study of language is about how we describe language, considering that language is as what was, let's say, suggested by the father of the one who is considered to be the father of modern linguistics, Ferdinand de Saussure. That is, language is a system, and within this system there are other systems, or let's say, in other words, that language is a system of systems. Now, let's talk about the systems of language. Generally, generally we have to conceive that language is made of different levels, but here we have to mention an important point, that is, we talk about language from a natural perspective. That is, language is speech, and the natural form of language is speech as it is posited by modern linguistics. Now, about the different levels of the different, let's say, different levels in the language as a system, usually we start from the bottom to the top. We start from the bottom level, or the lowest level, to the highest level. In this case, we have to talk about that the smallest unit in language is the sound, the speech sound, or what we know in the linguistic jargon, the phoneme, the smallest unit. With this smallest unit, we can make up a level that is the phonological level. The phonemes, through the system of combination, can give us a larger unit, but this one, it is the smallest unit, larger than the phoneme, the smallest unit, but it is the smallest unit that is meaningful. The smallest unit that is in language is the phoneme, but is meaningless. However, when we talk about the smallest unit that is meaningful, it is the morpheme. The combination of morphemes gives us a set of phrases. Using some rules, here we can go to a higher level. In this case, we are talking about a higher level than the phonological level, and next to the morphological level, attaining the syntactic level. The phrases combined through the system of combinations, or the process of combinations, can lead us to a higher level than the phonological level, the morphological level, syntactic level, which is the semantic level. Why semantic level? This is because at this level we can get the meaning of what we want to convey in language. And at this level, the unit is the sentence. If we consider that the smallest unit in language at the bottom level is the phoneme, at the higher level it is the sentence. So the largest unit in language is the sentence. From this, what we can see? We can see that within language there are different levels, and these levels, they come from the bottom to the top, from the smallest unit to the largest unit. These levels, they make every level makes, or each level, sorry, makes a system. That's why we talk about systems, and language is a system, and from this we can talk about a system of systems. The description at these levels usually is conceived to be, and also considered to be, an internal description of language. This is number one. The second kind of description, as it is claimed by linguistics, it is the external description of language, as it is written on the slide. Secondly, on the other hand, an external study of language deals more with the factors outside language. That is, here you can say we are no more concerned with the description of the inside part of language, or the inside part of language, but we are concerned with describing language in relation to other domains, in relation to other, let's say, areas. And in this case, we are talking not about an internal study of language, but an internal description of language, but an external description of language. Of course, in the jargon of linguistics, the internal description of language refers to micro-sociolinguistics. However, the external description of language refers to macro-sociolinguistics. Now we can have a look at major differences between micro-sociolinguistics and macro-sociolinguistics. The micro-sociolinguistics is concerned with the study of society and language. However, macro-sociolinguistics, it is the study of language and society. Micro-sociolinguistics is small-scale description. However, macro-sociolinguistics is a large-scale description. Micro-sociolinguistics is a narrow study of language in relation to society. Macro-sociolinguistics is a broad study of society in relation to language. Now let's talk about the aims of micro-sociolinguistics on one hand and macro-sociolinguistics on the other one. The aim of micro-sociolinguistics is to better understand the structure of language in communication. On the other side, the aim of macro-sociolinguistics is to better understand how some linguistic features characterize particular language structures. This is concerning the scope of sociolinguistics. Let's move to the foci of sociolinguistics, on what sociolinguistics focuses. Overall, one can say that sociolinguistics explores the ways in which society influences a speaker's specific language, and also how people communicate with one another and live with different, let's say, social linguistics. In this regard, micro-sociolinguistics studies the context of language to know more about language. Here the focus is on language. The focus is on language. In micro-sociolinguistics, we are interested in language structure. We are interested in how language structure within the effect of society, how language structure is provided within the effect of social linguistics. So in this case, focus is on language. For micro-sociolinguistics, the second field of sociolinguistics, by the way, macro-sociolinguistics is also referred to as the sociology of language, is more on society. We go beyond language, beyond language structure, to society as a whole, of course, in relation to language. This means that sociolinguistics studies language use to know more about the social structure. So the difference between micro and macro sociolinguistics, but the main difference is fundamentally on emphasis. Here, when we talk about macro sociolinguistics, emphasis and focus is on structure. Macro sociolinguistics emphasis is on, let's say, society. So it depends on whether the sociolinguist is more interested in language or society. This is about the first, let's say, part in this second part of the introduction to sociolinguistics, theme 1, that is the scope of sociolinguistics and the foci of sociolinguistics. Let's move now to the second part of this second part of the introduction of sociolinguistics, that is the methods of sociolinguistics. Generally, the adopted research methods used in sociolinguistics are either quantitative, empirical, or qualitative, descriptive. Empirical or descriptive methods. So in sociolinguistics, there are the two types of research methods. The quantitative research methods. Concerning the quantitative research methods, generally we talk about measurement and testing. And it's more objective, more scientific. There is more scientific rigor within the quantitative research. However, in qualitative research studies or in descriptive research studies, there is room here for, let's say, the researchers' interpretive perspective. That means there is more interpretation. It's more subjective than the quantitative research studies. However, both of them, they are important, let's say, research methods. In sociolinguistics do not rely only on one research method upon the other research method. They rely on the two research methods. Of course, the quantitative method usually strives to provide analytical contributions to sociolinguistics or to sociolinguistic studies with an aim to, as we said before, to realize an objective analysis of subject meaning. However, whereas a qualitative approach attempts to produce varying sets of accounts in order to generate interpretations of what sociolinguistics is researching. What is also remarkable concerning the methods of sociolinguistics is that new lines of inquiry are being opened up and new techniques are being devised to enable sociolinguists to obtain a greater refinement and precision in analysis. By making use of the scientific methods, investigators seek to enrich their audience with a better understanding of the nature and function of language in accordance with the dire need to solve the real human problems of society. So this is about, let's say, the methods used in sociolinguistics. Overall, sociolinguists depend and rely on different methods of investigation, whether these methods are quantitative or qualitative. Now, let's summarize what has been briefly presented and discussed in this second part of the second theme, an introduction to sociolinguistics. We can say that we have talked about two main points: the scope of sociolinguistics and the foci of sociolinguistics. Regarding the scope of sociolinguistics, we said that the scope of sociolinguistics is the study of the relationship between language and the society. Regarding the foci of sociolinguistics, we said that we have two main foci: micro-sociolinguistics, wherein focus is on language and language structure in particular. Macro-social linguistics focus in on society. In both cases, micro-social linguistics and macro-social linguistics, social linguistics are concerned with the effect on one hand of language on society, and on the other one on society on language. Regarding the second part in this second part of theme 2, an introduction to social linguistics, we have attempted to provide a short account of the methods used by social linguistics in their investigations, and we have come up to the conclusion that in social linguistics, social linguists generally rely on the two common research methods, the qualitative and purely descriptive research method, and also they can rely on the quantitative empirical research method. This is all about the second part of theme 2. Thank you very much indeed.